Welcome to My Healing is Your Healing, a podcast for the woman who is ready to stop performing and reclaim her voice. I'm your host, Celeste, and around here, we don't do surface level. We go deep. Each week, we'll explore concepts like self-discovery, radical honesty, and the kind of healing that rewrites your story from the inside out. This is a space for truth-telling, for remembering who you are, and for coming home to yourself, louder, braver, and more radiant than ever. So come as you are, and let's do this together. Let's begin. Welcome back to My Healing is Your Healing, and I'm your host, Celeste. And today we are gathering in a sober, more intimate space. A circle-style conversation between two women about what it really means to be single, to stay true to yourself, and to refuse to settle for anything less than respect and alignment. My guest today is Vanessa Maree, the voice behind the podcast Single and Not Settling. Her work gives women something that feels almost radical these days: permission to stay single until they're deeply, genuinely met. Not breadcrumbed, not half chosen, but met. Vanessa became that voice because she lived that story herself. Out of years of choosing men who weren't choosing her back, patterns she didn't want to keep repeating, and a breaking point on Christmas Eve during COVID where she was ghosted. Instead of collapsing into the old story of what's wrong with me, she did something braver. She turned inward. She started healing little Vanessa, the version of her who kept attracting emotionally unavailable men because she didn't believe that she deserved more yet. Her life looks different now. Not because she found the guy, but because she became the woman who would never abandon herself for love again. And through her podcast, her Reiki work, and the way that she lives her life publicly, and the mess, the magic, the joy, the loneliness, the expansion, she shows women that being single is not just a waiting room. It can be a whole, beautiful, evolving chapter. So today, this is not a conversation about dating strategies or about bashing men. It's a conversation about self-worth, self-discovery, and that quiet courage that it takes to hold out for what feels true. So let's settle in, soften our shoulders, and let's talk about the beauty, the ache, and the power of being a single woman who refuses to shrink herself. All right. Welcome, Vanessa. Thank you so much for being here on My Healing is Your Healing.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm really excited for this conversation, wherever it may go.
Me too. We never know, right?
Exactly.
So I'm going to jump right in here and just start asking you a question. When you think about being a single woman today, what about it feels true to you?
The moment, and this is a funny thing because at the moment I'm going through, I think, a whole lot of shedding, a whole lot of revelations. And I don't know if it's just hit me at this time of the year where it's about reflection and, it's the year of the snake. So we're shedding everything. Everything just seems to be unraveling. What I thought I wanted, I don't. And is my life in alignment? So I'm going through all of these things. And, I said something the other day, not a conversation, and it was like, being single at the moment is exhausting. Right?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Thank you. Because I'm like, I don't hear anyone say that. And with what I share on, my own platforms, I'm very real and vulnerable in what I share. And no one is saying to single women, it's okay to be exhausted. Like, it's okay to take all the advice, the cliche advice that you're given about, it will come when you least expect it. Put yourself out there, all of this stuff. And it's like, oh, if you have your own reality, you can change it. And it's like, well, how many times do I need to change something to get this relationship that I'm craving and that I'm desiring? And I think I've just gotten to the point where I'm just like, I'm exhausted with all the advice. And it's like single people have to do things all on their own. And we tend to be forgotten about because our friends who are in relationships, have children, whether they're single mothers or they're not, they're in their own family. I think they just assume that single people are out there living their best life all the time. They've got their own
Yeah.
income, they can do what they want, their time is theirs. And yes, exactly. Like it is 100% that. But single people still crave connection. We still crave that
Mhm.
conversation. We need someone to motivate us sometimes when we're feeling low, because sometimes it's hard to do it for ourselves. So I've just been going through this whole thing about, is the relationship really what I'm desiring? Like, why hasn't this happened for me? Like, it's everything I've been manifesting, doing the work and the inner work and all the affirmations and stuff. But it's like, am I meant to be single in this lifetime? And in the last few months, I think I've looked at my vision board, and my vision board in this little corner is that relationship. Like, I'm in a healthy, happy relationship. I've met the love of my life. There's photos of us like out camping and kissing and everything. And now I look at that, I'm like, well, why do I keep focusing on that? Like, why haven't I got that? And for me, it's like the shedding of, maybe my relationship doesn't look like that. Maybe it's, the grief now that I'm going through about it's maybe not going to happen for me. And then now what happens next? So it's okay to feel that way, and maybe, early next year, it might look different for me. Maybe I'm just in a slump because it's Christmas, it's a family, it's about relationships and all that stuff. And I'm just, yeah, having the feels about being single, and that it's like the perception of, if you're a single woman, particularly, you can do whatever you want. And yeah, a limit, obviously, you can. But again, it's like the people that you have in relationships, they don't check in on you. Like, it's like your friends are in their own little bubble thinking that you're okay, you're doing your own thing, you're doing well. But it's like, well, you can still reach out and say hello. We can still connect and have a conversation and ask how I actually am, instead of it always being about children and about, oh, they finished school and they're going to kinder and all of this stuff. Like, check on your single people. Like,
It used to be like an alert button. Check on your single people,
yep,
everyone.
exactly. Yeah, that's it. Because sometimes they're not always okay. And yeah, like I said, it's just, yeah, I think we're all exhausted. We're just all exhausted.
You are absolutely not alone in this. I haven't necessarily like thrown up my hands and said I give up, but I'm almost at the point where like I want to love my alone time. And so I almost feel like I'm forcing it because you never know when you start dating someone if you're going to get enough alone time. But also, I had to come to terms with the fact that I might be alone for the rest of my life. Like that was a serious thought. And I just turned 37. So that's a very long time potentially. And it's also a very scary thought because I have also thought, and on my vision board, I have the man of my dreams, and here's exactly what he looks like. Does I had somebody ask me the other day if my thought of what the relationship or the type of man that I want is too constricted.
Well, yeah. We get that a lot, us
And I
single
was
people,
like,
don't we?
yeah. And I'm like, no, he's out there. Maybe it's a frog that I have to kiss, right? And to be able to find those aspects of him. But yeah.
Yeah. I get what you mean. And it's like, that's when people say, because, I believe that I'm not settling for a relationship. And when I've said this to some people recently about how I'm feeling, they're like, well, if you're looking at them thinking, why do they have what you don't have? Are they really in a healthy, like, is it a good relationship? Sometimes if you dig deeper, yes, they've got a relationship, but is it a good one? Sometimes it's not
Mhm.
always better. And I completely understand that. And I know what I'm looking for. I know that I'm not going to be settling for something that's mediocre, because I've been there and I've done that. Like, in my 20s, I was in this comfortable relationship, and I thought that's what a relationship should be like. And he had cheated on me. I took him back. It was the worst thing I think I could have done. But at that time, I didn't know any better. Like, I didn't know about life. I didn't do any personal development. We don't get taught this in school. So you have to go through all these
No.
lessons throughout your life. And it's like, okay, I'll take him back, but I don't trust him. I'm just feel like I've closed myself. And it's like, it's a boring relationship. All we do is go to the shopping center and the movies. And then it's like, we go for a weekend away and it's just like, okay, well, what now? Like, it was just boring. And then I got to the point where like, okay, let's just have a break. And we broke up. And I don't want to go back to that. But now I know what I'm looking for. I know who I have become after all the years being single. So since that relationship, I haven't had an actual relationship. I've been dating on and off, but not a relationship. And that's been nearly 10 years. And I'm 41 now, right? And I'm like, yes, I want a relationship, but what does it look like? Like a friend of mine asked me a while ago, and I think this is what's kind of triggered this whole spiral where I'm at now. Like, why do you want a relationship? I'm like, what do you mean? Like, doesn't everyone want a relationship? But I'm like, shit, it's what society puts into you that you have to go to school, get engaged, get married, have kids, whatever order it is.
Oh, yeah.
But you're in that relationship. And she's like, you know, you're busy with your business and what you do. She's like, you know, from the outside, you're successful, you're living your life. Like, why do you want a relationship? And I'm like, shit. I'm like, well, what do I really want? I want the connection. I want the conversation. I want the intimacy. I want the affection. But then I also need my own space. So now it's like, how do I then, what does that relationship look like for me? You know, is it the traditional relationship? You know, like, and that's when it kind of started to unravel. And then I got sick with the flu. And then again, when you get sick with the flu, I think I'm the worst because it's like I spiral, like, who's here to look after me? Like I was getting up and fainting, like I had no energy.
Oh,
And I'm like, there's no one to look after me. And I think it hit me then. I'm like, well, who do I call? Like, you know, so that's what I mean. Like single people are exhausted. Like we're not really okay.
yeah, because we're constantly looking after ourselves, you know?
Mhm.
And yeah, it's like almost worse than having a boyfriend or a girlfriend, right? Where it's like, I can take care of you and you take care of me and we're kind of sharing the load. But no, you have to cook every single meal. You have to do all of the grocery shopping, all of the laundry. You have to take the dog out.
Yep. Yep. All
Yeah,
the
it's
cleaning,
exhausting.
like everything, all the life decisions. And like I went away recently for a weekend to visit a friend and she was interstate. And it was just nice to just disconnect from everything because there were not in this little town in Australia, it's called Byron Bay. And I call it like the spiritual capital. Like everyone comes there for some kind of healing or something. And I love that. And I'm like, I know going here might shift something. And sure enough, it did. Um, and I'm just like, there's no Christmas carols, there's no Christmas decorations, it's no, you got to do this, there's no hustle and bustle, there's no major shopping centers. It's just this quiet coastal town. And it's like, you can forget your life. And I'm like, I just loved forgetting for a weekend that I had to have responsibilities for mum and like care and support for her and for work and then the business stuff. And it's like, my mind is just overloaded with stuff. And yeah, when you're single, it's like, it's you. Like, it's just you, you know? So we're exhausted.
I keep on going back. It's also just that time of year.
Exactly.
Wow. Okay. So when you were growing up, what were you taught, like directly or indirectly, about the women who were single in their 30s and 40s?
I don't recall being taught anything. I think it was just if you're single in your 30s and 40s, like there's something wrong with you. Like, why is that? Why is she not married? Why doesn't she have children? And look, I'm child free. Like, I don't want children. It's never been something that
Same.
I wanted.
Oh, cool. There you go.
And I look back on, you know, me now and the choices I've made, and people might think, oh, like she's a bit weird. Like, what is wrong with her? You know? It was like, you know, when I don't know if you guys have it in America, but here we have like over 28 clubs, right? And when we were younger, it was like when you're over 28 and you're going to those clubs, you're kind of sad because you're wearing like maybe the leopard print dress and you're a cougar or something, right? And it was like they played all the old music. And then so when I got to 28 years old, I didn't want to go out like clubbing and wearing short skirts and stuff. Like they were playing the music that I really loved, right? And I'm like, it's actually not so bad. Like And this is the thing. It's like when you turn 30, it's like, oh no, like it's another milestone. Oh, and then turn 40. I think when I turned 40, I reached my like I don't give an F era. Like I'm more vocal. I know what I want. I'm like, I don't want to spend time with people that don't fill my cup. I've changed. So, but when I was younger, going back to your question, sorry, I know I've diverted there. It was like, oh, like if you're older and you're single, there is something wrong with you.
Mhm.
But when you get here, it's like, well, no, I don't think there's anything wrong with me. I just know what I want and I won't settle for less than that because I can see people around me who have and the consequences of that. And I'm like, I know, yes, it's probably a harder choice and a direction to take, but I'm waiting for that person to come through who's going to complement my life, not drain my life. So I think,
I love that.
yeah, yeah. And I think people think of it differently now than what they did 20 years ago because times have changed. Women are making their comeback, I guess. We're owning our power again. We're owning our femininity when it's been taken away from us so many years ago. So it's that shift that's happening too. So, yeah, I can see that single women, when they are in their 30s and 40s, it's like, no, good on you for being single. Whereas back then, it was what's wrong with you.
Yeah, I love that. And you're absolutely right. Like you think of the aunt that you had when you were younger who was in her 40s or something, and that was like the black sheep of the family that was kind of shunned. And you're like, oh, why do we not talk to like Aunt Jane?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that was just a thing. And you're like, you don't want to be that person growing up because no one wants to hang out with you for Christmas, right?
Yeah.
And then you get to this age and you're like, wow, I love my life. I don't have to like go hang out with anybody on Christmas. I can go watch a movie and I can do whatever I want. I don't have to get dressed. So there's a trade-off, I think. But you're right. And also going back to what you said before about the people who are in their 30s and 40s, maybe they did settle. Maybe, straight out of high school or college, and they're like, I want a family. And then they went through all of the effort of having a family and having the career and having the marriage. And then all of a sudden they're like, I don't know who I am
Mhm.
because that's their entire identity. And so they wind up maybe not loving their life. And we're sitting here like, this is amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Because it's like, I think you learn so much in your 20s and 30s. And when you get to your 40s, like even late 30s and 40s, you kind of think, do I want this life that you were told that you had to have? Like the children that you had to have. And don't get me wrong, like I think a lot of people, wanted children and that family dynamic. But were you ready for that? Like, did you do your inner work? Did you resolve your childhood issues or your from, that you had that you're carrying? Are you causing generational trauma still? Are you carrying that through to your children? Like now we're more aware of that. Whereas back then we didn't know this stuff. Like it wasn't as openly spoken about. And I think we have to thank social media for that because we can go on social media and we can see, oh, this clinical psychologist is talking about this. And oh, hang on, I react in this particular way, or I choose these men, which has been my story. I've chosen these men because I wanted to be that like pick me girl, like pick me, choose me. And I made bad decisions. But where did that come from? And when you unpack that, it's like, oh shit, that comes from like a distant father. And I was always trying to seek his attention, but he was avoidant. And then I've now brought that into my adult relationships. And I'm just like, oh, that's how it's all connected. And this is what I mean. It's like you piece all that together. You don't, one, you don't learn that in school. Two, no one spoke about
Mhm.
it back in the day because no one was really aware of it. But now we can make those better decisions and we can heal and we can dive deep into why we are who we are. And I think that that's a powerful, thing that we have at the moment that we can do. But yeah, like sometimes, yeah, you do see children in unhealthy relationships between their mother and father. And it's like, oh, okay. Like, I'm glad I don't have that. That's what
So I
it's
want to
exhausting,
go.
but I'm glad I don't have that mess. Like, when I was sick, like could not get out of bed, had the flu, and I'm like, I'm glad I don't have to do like a school pickup right now if I was a single mum, or, I'd have kids running around that needed my attention and needed to be fed. Like all I've got to do is focus on me. So it's great. But yeah, there are some pitfalls to it as well.
That's true. It is. Um, so going back, if I can, to your pattern and like dating the same man with a different face, right? In theory, is what was the pattern?
The pattern was, so I would go for the guy who was very like intense, like he was very attractive. He was messaging me all the time, like constantly throughout the day. If I didn't reply, I'd get like the question marks. So he'd always want that attention. And I took that to mean that he was really interested in me, that he really wanted to get to know me, never asked me any questions, but it was just kind of, you know, like surface level banter conversation. And I took that to believe he really wants to get to know me. He's really interested in me. Like on the first or second date, they would always say, I want to get to know you. I want to get off the dating app. And I was like, oh, okay, like this is like really like cool. This is heading somewhere. Now I know that it's not the case, because then what would happen is I'd get the slow fade. I'd get the breadcrumbing. And it would probably like a month or 2 or 3 months was like the maximum. But yeah, it would be like a slow fade. And it would be they'd go like really they would retract. So they would have that space where they'd avoid. And then I would then have to come forward and message and be like, hey, or send them a funny joke or like a meme or something just to kind of start the conversation because I wasn't getting anything. So then I would come forward because I was anxious attachment. And then they would then come forward like, oh, okay. My nervous system would say, okay, yep, they still want me. That's still good. And then the conversation would change. And it would be that pattern. And I didn't realize what that pattern meant. But then when I got, ghosted, whatever it was, I would meet someone else and the same thing would happen again. It was very intense at the beginning, but then it's like you could see the dynamic shift. And I'd be like trying to like poke a bear, being like, hello, like, do you still want me? Pick me, like choose me. That was my pattern until COVID, when I had the chance to dive into, okay, why do I keep choosing this? Like, what's happening here? And then that's when it's kind of all changed for me in the last, 5, 6 years. Yeah.
You and I are the same. And
How we've connected, I think.
and that's why it's crazy because you get so addicted to that.
Yeah.
You think that love is that up and down roller coaster. And so
Yeah.
when you don't have that anymore, you're like, well, that's not what I want. And you're stuck. So to be honest with you, I've now like done the healing and like the learning of all of the attraction patterns that I've had, but I still am waiting for the next person who is going to be that flat, not a flat line, but it'll be like a safe space for
Yeah.
me,
Yep.
a safe relationship. So intrigued what this is going to look like and feel like because I know it's going to be kind of uncomfortable for me and I'm going to have to watch myself and regulate it, but
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Yeah. And that's what it can feel like, because I had connected with someone in September this year and he was completely different to anyone that I've met before. And I had thought, wow, is this the person? Like, because like when you're single and like in the spaces that we're in, you do all the work on yourself and your patterns and how to regulate your nervous system and what healthy love actually looks like. And then so when you come across it, it's very easy for you to fall back into, oh, this doesn't feel safe. Like it's too comfortable. Like it's not right because it's comfortable. But it's like, no, actually, like it's comfortable because like love isn't meant to be up and down, like you've just mentioned. And then so when I had my first date with him, he planned everything. He offered to pick me up, all of the things. And I'm like, wow, I haven't got this before. Like, this is weird. And even our conversations, like we're deep diving about what we both wanted in our future. What does the next chapter look like? And there was so much in alignment there. And I did a bit of I did a blog type thing on my social media. And I'm like, shit, have I had my last first date? Like it got to that point. But then I felt that monkey mind kind of kick in. It's like, oh no, something feels off, yada, yada, yada. I'm like, oh no, this feels weird. Like I'm not attracted to him because and I'm used to the initial attraction is there straight away. Like I want to jump them straight away. But with him, I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't know if that can grow. Yes, we're aligned in everything else, but I don't know if this attraction can grow. And then I'm like, no, just continue it. Second date was good. Still really good talking. We shared a kiss and whatever. And it was like after that, he was like, I didn't hear from him for like a whole day. I'm like, oh, this is weird. And then I'd messaged him and he goes, oh, it's good to hear from you. I was actually thinking about you and you made me smile throughout the day. And I'm like, so why didn't you reach out? I'm like, were you testing me? And it's like, no. I'm like, feel that you were. Like when you're very intuitive and you're connected to yourself, you have these senses. And I'm like,
Mhm.
okay. So I was you were thinking about me. I made you smile, but you wouldn't reach out and be like, I'm thinking of you today. I'm like, okay. So I pinned that.
Exactly.
And then throughout the week, we were chatting. He ended up getting a chest infection. I said, look, if you're sick, I don't want to see you. And then he's like, oh, you said you were going to organize a third date. I'm like, I'm sorry? And he goes, yeah, you said you're going to organize a third date. And I said, I wouldn't say anything like that. Like my man takes the lead. If he wants to see
Okay.
me, I know he will make it happen. Like if it's a fuck boy, they want to see you, they'll make it happen, right?
Yep.
I'm just like, no, like don't put words in my mouth. And then from there, it kind of just went downhill. And I'm just like, how could something be at the very beginning be like, like this is something? And then all of a sudden it just goes like downhill and then turns to nothing, you know? And I'm just like, how I felt at the beginning, it was safe. There was no anxiety. There was no me overthinking it. That's how I want it to feel. Like it wasn't intense. It was just, he then just wanted to be a lazy person and just be like,
Mhm.
I'm going to let now you organize something, you know? And yeah, so I know what you mean. Like I'm looking for that one that's going to make me feel just calm and built on friendship, you know? Um, and I feel that the person hopefully will come, but I think in this moment, I'm like, just put your focus on other things, you know? So yeah.
It's interesting. You said that a couple times about like putting your focus on other things, but also like you're so busy and you want to when you were going to care for your friend's house and that like there's almost this aspect of being single when you just get lost in your own life and you're doing your own things and you're showing up for yourself and that's when that person pops up, but you're still like on the radar kind of like looking for that person. And the moment that you stop, I feel like it immediately opens up. Um, when I was in Phoenix, I want to say like 7 years ago, I was like, universe, I'm done. I am getting off the dating apps. I don't care. It was a Friday. And then magically, I went to the pool because I was training for an Ironman and I was sitting on the deck. And this man walks up to me and we just started chit chatting. And like, well, I dated him for 4 years. So it was just kind of crazy how that kind of worked out. So I wish that you could just take your mind off of it
Mm,
for just a day or
yep.
however long it takes, right, to find that person and just focus on you because that's almost the beauty of being single, right? Is to be able to focus on you no matter how much you want that other person in your life.
Yep. It is because like you said, it's hard not to go out and not look around you to see who's around you. And I think I do that normally. Like I'm a very observant person. I'm very like I need to see who's around me. Like and I think it's maybe
Mhm.
more of a safety thing. Like, am I safe? Who's around me? But you're never not scanning a room to see who's there.
Or if they have a wedding band.
Well, yeah. And it's like, oh, he's cute. Look at his hand. Oh, yeah. Got the
Yep.
wedding ring on. So it's like,
I'm glad I'm not alone.
no, like even when like there's a new man that you see walking in the office and it's like, oh, okay, like he's cute. Look at oh, yeah, you're married, you know? Okay, cool, that's fine. And it's like, I think it gets a bit disheartening over time. But I think, I was only probably in November when I went out to this like day clubbing event. And that was when I was like, nah, I'm done. Like you just said, I'm done. Universe, I'm not looking. Like, just you've screwed me over. Like, I had this whole thing with the universe, right? I'm just like, nah, you've given me all these lessons. Like, I've done all the work. I'm 41. Like, what else is there you want me to do? Like, am I meant to be solo? Like, it was a whole thing I had with the universe. Anyway, so I've gone out. And then it was like day clubbing. So a nightclub opened during the day. So it was like from 4 till 8. So literally you could go home at like 8, 9 o'clock. It was the best.
What an adult thing to do.
I know, right? But that was that I remember that afternoon when I was just having fun. I was dancing like no one was watching me. And I wasn't looking to see what man was around. It was just me having fun, chatting to a couple of other women. And it was just so much fun just to be like not wanting to scan the room for a man and be like, if there's no one there, you kind of feel a bit of disappointment. Because I don't know about
Mhm.
you, but for me, at times when you go out and you're like, maybe I'll meet him tonight, da, 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 I'm feeling really good. Da, da. I'm like, oh, there's no one there. Oh, I didn't meet anyone. I'm like, okay, let's just go home alone. Okay, bye. See you later. You know, it gets to you after a while. Yeah.
It does. I'm sorry, I'm laughing because I like have feel this so deeply. I feel like I do this way too much where I'm like, I feel the universe has destined me for something tonight and then go home alone
Yep. Yeah,
or
exactly.
without a phone number.
Yep,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. A psychic told me a year and a half ago that September 2025 is when I'll meet my person. But she was like, and I'm spiritual, but but then she was like, what'd she say? She goes, but he's at the moment vibrating higher than you are. So the way you can raise your vibration is like, be positive and, keep on living your life and doing all these things and then you'll meet. So, but she's like, September 25 is when I feel that's going to happen. And then when I met that guy that I was just sharing the story about, that was September 2025. And how much of that was in alignment and how much she said that this person is going to have this kind of a job. He's going to live near the water. He's going to, like, it's going to be really slow. You're going to have lots of messages between you before you actually meet. There was all these things that I was thinking back onto that reading. And I kind of put all my eggs in one basket and I'm like, this is it. And then when I met him, how it just felt so grounded, so relaxed and down to earth. I'm like, shit, this is what it's meant to feel like. I think it's him. And then when it all turned, I was like, I felt like a fool because I'm like, why did I trust this psychic that has said this? And then when I think something's going to happen, why was it another lesson? Like, what did I need to learn from this? And then you kind of like deconstruct it. And that's when the overthinking happens. And that's when it's like, F the lessons, universe, just give me my husband. Like, have I not done enough good in the world? Like, I'm a good person. Like, why aren't you giving me this relationship? Like, what's the resistance? What's a block? Where I can manifest anything else, but not the relationship. So, yeah, you just get
I
over
find that so curious. So I've been also like trying to figure out why, right? Because you feel like you're in the right space or like what next do I have to learn? Come on.
it.
Like show it to me. But what I'm beginning to understand is this person that is meant for you is not that far away. Like you might have actually been in the same room as that person that you're supposed to be with in September of 2025, right? But if you're not ready yet, how was it said to me? It was interesting. It's like the other person and you haven't met yet because you still have things that you're working on individually. And when the timing is right, it's just going to happen. And you may already know this person's face. You may already be in the same circles, whether it's the same gym or like the same running club, or I don't know, you go to the same coffee shop at the same time, but you've never actually met or even caught eyes. And then when it's meant to be, it just all of a sudden clicks. And from there it goes on. But I've yet to see it.
I know, right? Like, and that's the thing. I deep down, I still believe that. I still believe that we're all on our own journeys. We're on our own path. And when we're meant to meet, it will just happen and it will just begin from there. But then because like I've been in a funk, right? You're probably going to laugh at this. I'm like trying to like contest all of this information. I'm like, I know, but did the people who met in high school, were they on the same path? Did they do all the work and learn their lessons? Did these people learn the lessons? And I see, and then it's like, if it's happening to everyone around you, you're guaranteed to be the next person because it's so close. I'm like, I don't think so. I'm like, I've helped my friends shift all their energy and all their funky shit. They find relationships. And I'm still over here single. I'm like, hello, like, did you forget about me? Like, I'm the healer, right? So it's like I'm doing these things for other people because they're coming to me, they're drawn to me. But I get these men who need healing drawn to me because I'm the empath and I want to help everyone. So one of my lessons was not to be a Mother Teresa. And I'm just like, was like trying to help people and like,
Mhm.
take care of the men and whatever. Like, I know that's not my role and that's okay. But did all these other people that I know learn these lessons before they met their person? I don't think so, because you don't know this at 16 years old. What lessons are you learning at 16 years old? Like,
Right? Yeah. How to apply your makeup flawlessly.
yeah, exactly.
Uh-huh.
It's like we had glitter and sparkles back in the day on our face. You know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
oh, but yeah, so I do deep down, I do believe what that advice is and how it all works energetically. But it's just it makes it hard when you just keep constantly receiving lessons. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. So 2026, I've decided that I am not pursuing anything. Like I'm getting off the dating apps. I'm literally forcing myself to go do all of these self dates to be out in public and to find things that really resonate with me. Um, and that's I'm determined that this is how I'm going to find the man. But the goal of it is to just set it down and to just let go. And this is like the year of self love instead of letting someone else, unless it just happens to show up in the universe.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I love that. And what I also love to do, like at the beginning of the year, is a vision board for that year. Um,
Mm.
and like I think about mine for next year, and it won't have the picture. I've got it like behind me over there. It's like this picture of like a male and female camping, or like there's one of like being in a car and it's like the guy is holding like the woman's hand. And I'm like, that's really attractive. And like, that's what I want. And I'm like, okay, so what am I now going to fill with that, like fill in that space, knowing that everything else on that vision board had came to fruition. It was just that relationship that didn't, So I was like, is it travel? Like what does that look like for me now? And I think, we're in a very good position to be able to do that, to find our hobbies and love ourselves that little bit more. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, I love that. Okay, we talked about the exhaustion. How do you navigate the loneliness when you're single without defaulting to your old coping mechanisms or old partners?
Yeah. That's a really good question actually. I always say like you're alone but not lonely, right? So it's like you can be alone, like I'm sitting in my apartment watching TV or Netflix, but am I lonely? It's like, do I have connection in the outside world somehow? Is it a friend that I can contact? Is it being okay in my own company where I can maybe go like to a cafe and just like have a coffee or brunch by myself and that fills my cup? Is it me going on a hike? Like I love being in nature. Like nature always returns me back to me. And that's something I've been relying on in the last probably week or so once I've, you know, finished my sickness, is going back out to the water, just being by the beach, grabbing a coffee, being okay in my own company. So for me, it's about finding what I actually really love to do by myself. And what I also do is and I think in America you'd have this too. So there's lots of like friendship groups on like Facebook. And then so like I join like a few of them, and some of them are related to like walks and nature and things like that. But other ones are like going to cafes for brunch or going to a bar for a drink and then connecting with other people. So I kind of do like maybe one of them once a month just to kind of get myself out there and meet new people. I do like networking events because like with the business, like networking like in terms of that space to get me out there. Um, but it's also having that hobby. Like for me, I love podcasting, like you have as well, like with the Reiki and all of that, like that keeps me really busy. Um, but yeah, I think when I do stop and have that me time, it's just, what delicious food makes me feel really good in this moment. Like what TV show, what movie can I watch that makes me laugh or makes me just feel really excited about maybe there's like a rom-com and it's a relationship and it's like, oh, like it
Yes.
makes me feel good. So I think you've just got to find that thing for you, seeing family, like if you're close with your family, like going to visit them or your nieces or your nephews or things like that. So I think everyone has something different, but knowing what that is for you, I think is very important. So, you do get out of the house. You're not sitting on your couch just with no plans, you know?
You almost made me think about almost romanticizing the time that you get with yourself,
Mm.
because if you don't have someone else in your life, no one else is going to treat you with that love and kindness, or almost that like romance, right?
Yeah.
Wooing you. So why not do that for yourself? Because you just listed about 15 things that you love to go do by yourself. And I feel like the only thing that's missing is like some flowers and chocolate, right?
Yeah. Like sometimes I'll like light some incense or I have salt lamps in my home. So at nighttime, when I come home, I'll put the salt lamps on, I'll put a candle on. Um, I'll occasionally get flowers for myself and put them on the table. But it is about romancing yourself because exactly like you just said, no one else is going to do it for you while you're in this season of being single. So why not do that for yourself and show yourself that love and compassion and like there's nothing wrong with that. Like having that time to yourself, whether like you're intimate with yourself, you pleasure yourself, like it's all the things about exploring who you are in your body. Like, but I just think, yeah, having those things that that really fill you and light you up. And like sometimes if I'm walking along the beach and there's a nice sunset, I'm like, it'd be really nice if I had like someone's hand to hold at this moment, like walking side by side. And but then it's like, you know what, like look at what's around you. Like and then I go to like be mindful and then I go to gratitude. Like I'm grateful that I can see this sun with my eyesight. Like I'm grateful I can feel the sand on my toes. Like being really present and mindful. And that takes me out of spiraling like, oh my God, I'm here by myself. Like there should be someone with me. Where's my partner? This would be romantic with them. It's like, how can you make it romantic for yourself? And how can you be grateful for where you are in that moment?
I love that.
Yeah.
So how do you work with women, and like what would you say to a woman who feels like she's running out of time? Like there's this timer, right? Especially if you want kids and you're our age, or you feel like you might be single for the rest of your life. What would you say to them?
Um, I share a lot of like advice on my podcast for single women. And it's a mix of, yes, like healing, like, knowing where your trauma, stems from, healing that part of you. When you're triggered, calming your nervous system, doing all of that stuff for you. And it's not just about to get that relationship or, whatever it is. It's about life. Like when you're put in situations in life, how do you, regulate your nervous system? What makes you feel good in that moment? Like what can you do? So healing for me is a big part of it. Um, and I think the more people that do it, the less chaos will happen in the world. Like hurt people, right? So it's like the more that you can look in the mirror and be like, okay, does this come? Why am I angry at this person? All of the stuff that's a big part. So healing is a big part of it. Whether that's meditation, breath work, like energy work, whatever that looks like for you. Therapy even is also good too. But then I think it's like accepting where you are. And I think I need to kind of take my own advice. And I love this question that you're asking me because I think I probably needed to know this at this moment. And it's like accepting, okay, this is where I am. I can't change what's not here, but I can change and accept how I feel in this moment. And what does that look like? And we go back to what we just spoke about, the love and the compassion that we can give to ourselves and what does make us feel good. Is it a new hobby that you want to try? Like living this life, yes. There's a lot of people out there who are in relationships that are unhappy, that have kids that they can't, have time for themselves. We're single, we're lucky we do have that time. And sometimes, yes, we do get into a funk, but a lot of the times we can bring ourselves out and be like, I'm so grateful for the peace I have in my life. Going back to gratitude, I'm so grateful that I've able to be and achieved to put this roof over my head, that I have a stable job and I have beautiful friends and whatever it is, like I can travel by myself and meet new people. It's going back to that gratitude as well. But then also, if you are looking for someone, especially if you do want kids, one, you can have kids by yourself these days. You don't need a man to have kids. I know it's ideal, but like you don't need a man to have children. So that could probably be an option for anyone looking to have children. But then it's also trusting that the universe, God, source, whatever you believe in, has that plan for you. And it will all happen when it's meant to. And again, I know it's that cliche advice that I think, I'm sick of hearing because I'm like in a funk. But deep down, I still truly believe it. Like, I still truly believe that you're worthy of that relationship that you're calling in. Because if you're looking for that, there's someone else looking for that too. Like, you don't have these desires and these
Absolutely.
dreams for nothing. They're there because someone's been put them into you, your higher power, whatever you believe in. You don't get any of these ideas for nothing. So I know deep down that it's going to happen. I just don't like that it's taken too bloody long. Like,
I had to remind myself the other day that history has told itself, right, in my past and yours probably too, that every few years or so, you get a relationship. And so now it's just one of the lulls where we get to passionately take care of ourselves instead of passionately taking care of someone else. And I almost wonder if those downsides or the breaks in between are almost needed because my mom always used to tell me I had to take a break between men. I never listened. But I'm now learning that this is almost a beautiful time because you get to learn new lessons. You get to figure out who you are without somebody in your life dictating what it is that you don't and what you do like, right?
yeah,
I could maybe not like sushi, but I've been had to eat sushi for years because I was dating somebody, right? I don't know. I love sushi, but um like you don't really know yourself until you're outside of a couple
mhm,
and you get that chance and then you get to start experiencing that with somebody new maybe.
yeah, exactly. And I think that's how it comes together because if you don't know yourself, then you're easily led, right? It's like, okay, well, I'm going to meet someone and I want them to complete me, right? I'm going to like whatever they like. And again, you're performing, you're people pleasing, which is a bad thing. But then it's like, well, if they like, sushi, for example, and you don't, I'm going to get to like sushi because I know they like sushi. But it's like, what about if you stood in like, actually, no, I don't like sushi. I'm going to have this instead. It's more empowering, right? And they're going to think, oh,
Mhm.
she knows what she wants. Like she's confident enough to speak it. And I think that's the advantage that we have being single. We can kind of get stuck in our bubble of like, no, I want this and things have to be this way and no, no, no. But when we introduce someone into our lives, it's like I know that's going to be hard for me because I'm so independent. But it's like, yeah, if you don't know who you are, then you're easily led to believe and to like other things because of someone else. And then you're going to people please, perform, and then it's going to be more controlling than it is being in a healthy relationship.
Exactly. And these are things now that I feel like you've said that you don't want in your life. You want to be your whole self, your whole woman, and you're not going to settle anymore.
Exactly, that's right. So, yeah, although I am in that funk at the moment, it's the end of the year, Christmas time. It's like I'm getting wedding invitations from a friend, and I'm like, which I helped clear, and she's met someone, and that's the wedding. It's just yeah, I do believe everything that I have said. It's just it's okay to feel like you're in a funk. Like I'll give you that permission to just feel whatever you need to feel to move through it because it's energy, it will shift, right? And yeah, just give yourself permission to feel in those moments when it does feel low because it will always shift. Everything changes, right? But for
Mm.
me, it's like going back to gratitude, loving on my life, loving on myself, and yeah, just believing that will happen when it will happen.
Well, I hope that today was a reminder that you are amazing and that as much as we don't want to believe or like have to wait for it to happen, you will find somebody who's amazing for you.
Yeah, as you will as well. Like we will.
Thank you.
Like this time next year, we'll reconnect and just be like, "Oh my god, they're here!"
When you do meet that person, I expect you to send me an email and let me know.
Oh, definitely, and the same to you too. Tell me.
Absolutely. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for joining me.
You're welcome. It's been a really, really good conversation. Like I think there's a lot that I needed to share, to someone whoever needs to hear this. But also, I think for me as well, like to remind myself that yeah, just go back to what I know that works for me. So it was a good reminder for me too in this moment. So thank you.
Absolutely. And it's also nice to know that you're not alone in all of the crazy things that we do while we're single
Yeah.
and like manifesting and hoping for love.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. And it can be hard, absolutely, but we're not alone in, craving that desire and that connection with someone. And yeah, again, give yourself permission to feel everything.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Wow. Thank you, Vanessa, for bringing your honesty and your courage and your heart to this conversation. And now to every woman who is listening, I hope that this episode boldly called you back to yourself, not in a way that closes you off from connection, but in a way that ensures that the next connection is aligned and reciprocal and worthy of the woman that you're becoming. If this conversation stirred something in your chest, if you are navigating dating or identity or self-worth or the fear of being too much, or maybe even not enough, you're not walking this path alone. These are just some of the exact themes that we're exploring inside of the Radiant Woman Circle every single month. We just began our year of becoming, and our circle meets every other Wednesday. And it's a space where we dive deeply into concepts like identity and self-worth and the art of choosing yourself, especially in relationships. You can join us at myhealingisyourhealing.com. And until next time, keep showing up, keep growing, and remember, you were never meant to dim your light. Thanks for tuning in and being here, for healing out loud, and for walking this path beside me. If this episode cracked something open or helped you remember a part of yourself, pass it on and share it with someone you love. For more support, free resources, or the next steps to your journey, head over to my website, myhealingisyourhealing.com. And if you loved today's conversation, subscribe, rate, and leave a review. Your words help this space grow and help more women find their way home to themselves. If I was your muse today, then my healing is your healing. Until next time.